Hello and welcome to today's WIEF face-to-face space, the final business frontier. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome our moderator for today. She is Datuk Darawati Hussain, Director of Shalin Sendrian Berhad. She has over 30 years experience in private equity, also known as venture capital, fund asset management, and corporate finance. Now, without further ado, over to you, Datuk Darawati.
Thank you very much, Ina. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm very pleased to have the honor of introducing Tan Sri Dr. Syed Hamid Alvar, who is the chairman of WIEF Foundation, to kindly say some welcoming remarks. Tan Sri has a very illustrious career, but I will very quickly go through his very lengthy profile. Tan Sri began his career in the judicial and legal service as a magistrate in 1970 and was appointed president of the Sessions Court in 1971. He then pursued a career in the financial and banking sector locally and internationally from 1972 to 86. And in the years 86 to 1990, he became a partner in the law firm Alvar Zulkifli and Yap. He was also a member of parliament from 1990 to 2013, during which he held various ministerial positions, including Minister in the Prime Minister's Department and Minister of Justice, Minister of Defense, Minister of Home Affairs, and most notably, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Tan Sri has last held position was Chairman of the Land Public Transport Commission of Malaysia from 2010 to 2017. Tan Sri holds a barrister at law degree from Middle Temple, UK, and was called to the Malaysian bar in 1974. He also holds a master's degree in human sciences, political science from International Islamic University of Malaysia, and a PhD in international relations from Asia University Kuala Lumpur. And with that, can I pass the floor to Tan Sri to give his welcoming remarks. Tan Sri, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dato, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon and good morning to Mr. Anatoly Kopik, participants and colleagues. Let me welcome you to the WIEF's face-to-face session on the space industry and business opportunities it may offer. I had never thought that I would see the day when the space will become accessible to many instead of a chosen few, such as astronauts. It is a place that has captivated our imaginations for centuries, and I think continues to do so until today. If before space is a vast expanse of the unknown, waiting for it to be discovered, it is no longer so today. Through years of exploration, space became an integral part of our lives. Space exploration brought us a wealth of knowledge and understanding that we wouldn't have had thought possible. For starters, it allowed us to better understand the solar system and the universe as a whole. Space exploration has also given us the chance to explore new frontiers, such as the possibilities of living in space. And today, that is very close to becoming a reality, no longer a dream. The potential for exploration and discovery of space is now limitless. Humankind will keep pushing the boundaries to further discover secrets that lie beyond. In today's face-to-face session, we will discuss its vast economic opportunities and potential to create economic wealth. Space exploration is a multi-billion-dollar industry as much as it is a scientific discovery. It has the potential to open up new markets for businesses. As much as governments, a few private Western companies are already investing heavily in space exploration and the technologies involved. Collaboration is important for us to achieve the best result. That is why we should encourage public and private partnership to form a commercial space industry. This can be a key driver of innovation and economic growth. It can potentially attract significant funding for companies to venture into a new frontier business. Space industry is rapidly growing business sector, is estimated at present to be worth over $300 billion. It is projected to grow to $1 trillion. Interestingly, the space industry has been a major source of technological innovation, with many of the technological advances made in the space industry finding their way into our daily or everyday life. For example, portable vacuum cleaners, smoke detectors, and tap water filters. Imagine life without this useful invention. It will not be as comfortable. Now, for entrepreneurs, the space industry offers limitless opportunities, from developing new satellite-based applications that can include navigation and communication system to innovative services and products related to space exploration. In recent years, there is a space tourism as a viable business. To me, space tourism is fascinating, an emerging industry aiming to make space a travel accessible to all of us. However, the cost of such trip is currently very prohibitive, very expensive, with tickets costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it is only for the few. There are plans for more ambitious space tourism ventures in the near future. Still, there are many technical and safety challenges that need to be addressed before space tourism can become a mainstream industry. But I believe one day space travel will be as common as airlines travel. All this is showing us that space is viable and exciting new frontier to capitalize on. However, it is not without its challenges, and they must be addressed. For instance, the following: there is a significant cost to think about. There is a lack of infrastructure in space, long development cycle that can make it difficult for businesses to remain competitive. Also, high risk linked to space activities such as equipment failures and launch mishaps, to name but a few. But don't let that discourage you. Be glad you are attending this session today and be able to hear from the expert on the how and what about the final business frontier. I hope the discourse will inspire you to explore incredible possibilities that come with the space industry. Remember, space is not the limit. It is where great business potential begins. I wish you all a very constructive and productive discussion. The best of luck. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much, Tan Sri, that you perfectly encapsulated, I think, the dream that space presents to us in terms of potential being the next frontier to explore and perhaps invest in. And with that, I think we have a very exciting speaker representing Sputnik. They have had quite a long and fruitful journey as a startup, and we're very glad to have Anatoly Kopik, the Marketing and Sales Director from Sputnik LLC Russia, to share the journey of the company and some of the key points that Tan Sri brought up during his welcoming remarks. Formerly, Anatoly was with the Event Team Communications Agency, and his last position was the Project Manager and PR Director. Before that, he was also a press attaché in the marketing department of the industrial holding Ivanovskaya Marka. He worked as an editor of the illustrious Cosmo news magazine, Novosti Kosmonavtiki. Anatoly graduated from the Bauman MSTU with honors in the specialty spacecraft and launch vehicles, and from the International Space University. At the university, he was the head of the satellite direction for the Youth Space Center and the coordinator of the microsatellite Baumanets 1 project. For the promotion of his achievements for national cosmonautics, he was awarded medals of Roscosmos from the Federation of Cosmonautics, the Association of Cosmonautics, and VDANH. And with that, I welcome Anatoly to present. for his presentation. And Toby, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. In today's presentation, my goal is to share our, I think, the huge experience in a space activity, in a commercial space activity, because we are private company. A commercial company, and trying to do business in Russia internationally in very interesting but very difficult field as a space business, space exploration, and different space applications. So we have a very long way, starting as a startup more than 11 years ago, when just several persons were involved in this very beginning process activities, and I like to share, based on our nowadays products, maybe services, activities, to share our way. Maybe it would be very interesting and maybe useful for you in this field to get that experience, maybe to start some businesses in that field. Let me show the presentation. Here it is, our, let's say, milestones, our way as a typical startup from the very beginning, when we were just very uninformed, but very let's say charged people to do something interesting in space. So our team started to develop let's say constellation, from being just a group of space engineers in order to build something and develop something small, for example, some systems or subsystems. So our team tried to build the communication constellation of the satellites, and the first step of the company was to trying to find money for that. So we were very charged to build such a great system, but unfortunately it was a tricky process. So the money that we found at that time was just the governmental money for the grant to develop some technology. So it was we asked for that funding to develop the universal platform that would be the basement for the different space systems and the system that we were developing in that time. And we were lucky. We get such a funding from the government. It was 2013, as far as I remember. So, and just 1 year was enough for us to develop and to build the platform and the launch. And we were doubled lucky, because the launching company said us, okay, if you have such a good project, okay, let's go. We have a space on our launcher to lift off your satellite into orbit. So, and we were it was unpredictable for us, because we were expecting just to build the technology, to show the engineering model, mock-up, but that 1 year was for us like a very short time to build something useful for the space industry, and we were lucky to build the first satellite, first commercial satellite, remote sensing satellite, and we launched it in 2014. So, and it was let's say it wasn't the commercially successful project and satellite to utilize the pictures to get images and so on, but it was the technology basement for our movement forward, and based for that technology, we starting developing new other things, new other satellites, new other subsystems, ground segments. So to tell the truth, we were short of money to buy, for example, ground stations, test benches, other equipment. So we were developing all that things ourselves. So we developed and built all that equipment for our usage, but after that, all that systems, all that equipment was the commercial products. And nowadays, we not just the company that's building and developing the satellites. We're developing different subsystems, space-based buses, starting from CubeSat technologies up to mini-sat, up to 300 kilo satellites, test benches, ground stations, even aerospace education equipment. So I will tell you about that. So some our activities in a space segment based on technology of small satellites, and nowadays we have experience to launch very different spacecrafts, starting from 1 kilo nanosatellites, 1 unit CubeSats, up to big ones. So when we have a range of that satellites launched into orbit with different purposes. It's scientific purposes, IoT, technological, biological, remote sensing satellites, and we're developing new ones based on our platforms. So here is some of the examples of the payloads that we are utilized on our developed platforms. So our customers from different organizations, governmental organizations like research institutions, universities, commercial companies, even companies abroad. So we delivered satellites into different countries and equipment to different countries, and launched several satellites to international customers. So nowadays we are going step by step. So started from the small platforms, small satellites. I'm talking about CubeSat format satellites. 1 unit CubeSat. 1 unit means 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters. Very tiny spacecraft that can accommodate that small amount of a payload, just let's say just 1 centimeter by 10 centimeters in volume, and very low with a low consumption of energy. But it's even that technologies give a possibility for scientists to launch very interesting missions, scientific missions, and we launched a couple of that satellites with a very good results. That satellites were monitoring the magnetosphere, different chargeable particles, and so on, even up to ultra low orbits. So going step by step, we develop 1 unit, 3 units, 6 unit satellite. Nowadays, we are going to launch 12 unit satellites, and we're developing 16 unit satellites for different missions. Here is the example of 12 unit satellite with a remote sensing camera. It could be a 2.5 meter resolution multispectral camera based on that platform, and we are going to develop the constellation with that satellites. And the first launch will be in June of this year, the first experimental satellite, and after that we are going to build a constellation of 30 satellites, that kind of satellites. As I said, because we were very short in money, so that's why we developed practically all subsystems for the satellite, for the platform, CubeSat platform and microsatellite platform. So you can see it's all things that you need to build the platform. So we are not focused on missions and the payloads. So we are focused on the space buses. We are professional in that, and we can accommodate different payloads in our platforms. So depending on the needs, we can accommodate very different ones. And the next step that growing in technologies and in equipment, in a team. So we started to think with the categories of bigger missions, bigger satellites, more powerful, with a more precise payloads. And so nowadays we are developing the Pallada. It's a name of space bus that can be the basement for the satellites from, let's say, 80 up to 300 kilos. That covers different missions, starting from remote sensing, sub-meter resolution missions, radar or optic missions, up to communication satellites for Internet of Things, or even 5G technologies that we are going to test in the nearest launch. So you can see there are different applications on the remote sensing. So it's agriculture, forests, lands, cities, monitoring ecology, and so on. It's very, very useful data, and not just data, but services based on data. And nowadays we are developing not Sputniks, but the group of companies. So nowadays we are part of Citronics Group. Citronics Group, it's IT leader in Russia, and it has let's say, space branch that working on developing space services. We like a hardware branch of that activity. So we're producing the satellites, the ground segment, the test benches, and the other branch is working on data, raw data, and the services based on that data. It's remote sensing, IoT, data communication, AIS data. It's automatic identification systems for vessels monitoring. I don't mention that we are developing such a constellation that will monitor the vessels routes, vessels history of that traffic, to monitor all that shit in a globe scale. First of all, for the north path of Russia, that's it's going to be let's say, traffic on the North Territory of Russia. It's a seaway, so we need the data on ice situation, or on the traffic situation, and so on. So we're developing the space segment of that things. So again, for the micro satellites, again we developed all systems ourselves. It's a basic system: computers, navigation, reaction wheels, sensors, different subsystem, power subsystems unit, and so on. Except, as I said, payloads. So we were lucky, so we can be very flexible in that development of different satellites. If we have some troubles with some let's say elements, COVID, the example of that things, so we easily can redevelop some subsystems and to rebuild the architecture and software ourselves. So we are very flexible in that, and it's like a, let's say nowadays it's like a package of the subsystems. We can build the platforms ourselves, or like deliver the set of the subsystems for the customers to build the systems themselves. As I said, so we're building the ground segment, test benches ourselves. So, and that wise, we started to be the provider of such systems for different organizations in Russia and abroad. So nowadays we have a let's say the line of different products, and including the mission control centers and the stations, and even the educational project. It was an interesting moment for us when we thought that we are professionals in a space business, building the very interesting, very prospective space technology. But one day, one university came to us and said, "Okay, you're very professional in that, but we would like to have something interesting for students, involving them in that process." They wanted to be the space professionals by the end of the educational process in university, and trying to build something useful and workable in space sector. But we are lack of equipment, and we are lack of equipment, and we don't have a space elements, the elements with the space heritage. The problem is that many of universities try to build satellites from very beginning. They build all that things themselves from the let's say from the zero level, and many of that projects, many of that missions failed because it's very difficult field. I mean the space. So even a small mistake can result in a failure of mission. So, and after that, we thought how we can help them to involve the students, young professionals, that activities, and we adopt some of our. It was just the first step. Adopt our technologies for the level of universities, even schools. And we built the space kit. It's like educational kit giving a chance for the educational teams to build, like, let's say, laboratory satellite, to play with that technology, to understand how it works, how to form the mission, what sensors could be used in that technologies, and it was like a explosive experiment, because lots of technical universities, even with their space background and without space background, they asked us to help them to start the space laboratories, space teams, and so on, even schools. So it was unexpected for us, and nowadays it's like additional activities of our team to support educational organizations to build the different educational equipment to help the education to be involved in a space high-tech activities. Not all of that students will be the, let's say, astronauts or cosmonauts and space engineers, but they would be involved in the high-tech activity. It's a multi-field activity that includes different knowledges and experience in different scientific subjects and so on. So they have to work with that and to work in a team, to build, to develop, to program, to work, to get a feedback. So nowadays it's like ecosystems. So we involved different partners, and nowadays it's competitions, different centers, youth technoparks, and so on that uses that technologies to involve children in that activities. Nowadays they're going step by step from the school to the universities and up to young professionals with all that spectrum of knowledge, experience, and so on. So, and here it is. You can see some examples of that equipment. Their simulators. We have lessons, methodological materials for that, and so we think that a good example how can how their ecosystem can be grown from the very beginning, from the classes, from the laboratories up to real space activities, because many of that teams nowadays building and launching real satellites, educational satellites with the real missions and equipment in cooperation with the schools, universities, and the industry. So nowadays we have a like good collaboration, good set of that activities. So here is some examples of our mission that we were involved in, and we are nowadays we are preparing the next set of educational satellites and the commercial satellites and the remote sensing different purpose satellites. So nowadays we're producing dozens of satellites and going to product more than 100 satellites each year with different missions. So it was our short experience. I think maybe it would be useful for you in your activities, in your space activities. Maybe it's just an interest. So if you'd like to work with us or in that field, please contact me, and we will help you and give you knowledge how to do that. Thank you very much. And if you have some questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I will try to answer.
Thank you, Anatoly, very much for that very detailed and concise presentation on your company and how it's grown from, how it grew very, very rapidly from the startup story to a very comprehensive product offering, and now being part of a very large conglomerate involved in, you know, the different value chain within the space tech industry. I think maybe we can now go to Q&A. So please send the questions in. But I'm just picking up one question from Isha, asking for someone interested in the space tech industry, what kind of funding size is practical if you want to, you know, become an SME within the space tech industry? What sort of funding amount are we talking about here?
Let's say the first funding, from my opinion, should be roughly about $1 million
Yeah.
To start the laboratory, the team, the technology. It should be a satellite mission or just equipment, because there are a lot of needs of good payloads, the modern payloads, the payload that's based on the top level of science, but very like in a niche, but very useful. You can start with that step by step as we let's say we started from the satellite, but the best way to start with something more let's say maybe less ambitious.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to share some statistics. I was doing some research. So there are many reports in terms of how much private sector funding is going into this space segment right now. And for the past 3 years, the space tech industry has been receiving quite a bit of funds. Reuters, there were some figures from Reuters which said investments in startups for 2021 was 45.7 billion. And for 2022, because of, you know, the current economic environment, it dropped down to 22 billion, but there's still a lot of funding globally being directed into the space tech industry. So leading from that, you talked a little bit about, you know, the sort of usage of your current small sats and CubeSats. So can you explain a bit in terms of segmentization industry? Who are your biggest clients right now? Who's driving your, you know, the space tech industry? Is it comms? Is it the defense segment? Maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Okay, there are, let's say, two differences between the funding of startups and funding of the let's say big projects and missions. For example, if we are building something huge, of course it needs the huge amount of money funding for that. If you are talking about the constellation, it could be tens or hundreds, even billions of dollars to build the constellation, consisting from dozens up to thousands satellites. It depends on the markets. It depends on the technologies. And there are some different sectors that's growing. It's a communication, first of all. Of course, it's a remote sensing with a high resolution and ultra high resolution, less than 1 meter resolution, and the system with a, let's say, fresh data when you are going to take pictures every day with a high resolution and to build services based on it. Pictures itself, it's a product, but the product is the services based on it. The artificial intelligence that working on that massive, that they're exploring the changes in agriculture, in traffic, and the construction, and so on. And it's still growing markets, and there are needs in particular countries and internationally to build such systems. Spacecraft itself.
Yeah.
Sorry?
So you spoke about AI. I have a very specific question here on AI from Muhammad Hasif. So he was asking, as you are implementing AI about onboard your CubeSats, are there any limitations? Are there any swap limitations? I don't know what swap is.
You're talking about artificial intelligence. Basically,
yes.
it's nowadays it's a ground technology. So satellite, it like a combine. It's going and it produces data that is grounded, downloaded to the ground station, that's stored in the servers, and after that, artificial intelligence working with that data. They are building services on that, so they can understand the humidity in the fields or pollution or oil or all that things on new objects. Just the looking on different pictures for if you are talking about remote sensing, or it can help people with a great amount of traffic information to understand something, the trends of traffic or the some emerging points. For example, if some vessels just cross the territory that they are not able to do that. So and it's artificial intelligence helps in that services. And another thing, artificial intelligence on board the satellite, that understanding the process on board, but it's a different things. It's let's say it's subsystems level, and it's space bus level thing. So it's a spacecraft software.
I have a few questions which are maybe related to we are under the WIEF kind of umbrella right now. So there's a lot of questions from potentially Islamic customers wanting to understand more in terms of how would you or Russian technology space tech companies differentiate yourself against Europe, which is coming up and coming, like Luxembourg, or other countries? I mean, how would a potential customer would yeah.
So we are working with Islamic customers. So we are working with Tunisia. We helped them to launch the first Tunisian satellite. We are working with Saudi Arabia. We launched the King Saud University satellite. Nowadays we are working with Malaysia, helping to develop the space technology. So we're working with different countries. And so for us, it's no difference.
I think the question was, given that space industries demand complex technological ecosystem, and that these ecosystems take decades to set up, what would be the most effective way for a country from the Islamic world to be involved in best-in-class space technologies? So I suppose this is kind of related to infrastructure in space. I'm not really sure, but I don't know whether you find clarity in that question.
We'll try to answer. Of course, the space field quite complicated because it involves different things in that. So it could be quite high level of education and specific education. First of all, the second one is infrastructure and internal customers. It could be the governmental or private customers. So you are probably you have agriculture, but the farmers don't understand how space technology can help them. So it's and we trying to help to build that ecosystem, starting with the educational levels from the schools. So it's not possible just to set the satellite technology and you'll be, if you are not a space let's say space country. So you have to build your own educational process, transfer technology process between the research organization to the industry, satellite manufacturing companies or equipment manufacturing companies, network of different organizations in the country and abroad to take the best solutions for that, and after that to develop your own space activities, your own space projects. So so we are going that way in Russia and abroad, helping the in Russia for the universities to be the space universities, for example.
So
and
working
for the
with
countries,
universities and I mean, education seems to be the central story for you, is to make sure that is for a country to have that kind of
yes, of course. So it depends on the for example, first of all, it depends of amount of funding, and we understand that. So and we offer the step-by-step way for that, starting with the space equipment, let's say space toys, the space laboratory equipment, to start the educational process, to start to set the simple space station, ground station to receive space data, remote sensing data, or data from the real satellite telemetry, to work with that, to teach the students from that level, to form the teams, groups that involved in after that involved in the real process, because they're interested to build their own satellite, for example, and step by step going to the space technology, to the very complex and complicated and useful for the industry, for the country project.
So you would be able to collaborate or do partnerships with, for example, Malaysian universities or any other Islamic countries?
Yeah, of course, yes. We are working with a huge amount of different education organizations in Russia and abroad.
Yeah. I have a question here on drones, because that's a big thing right now. I mean, is that complementary at all to your low satellites, or that's a completely different scale? I mean, for agriculture in particular, I guess.
For agriculture, it's just one of the field of the application. There are lots of things, but first of all, it's a field that understandable for all of us. I mean, how to increase the productivity of the field and so on. So, and nowadays there are huge amount of applications that working with the space photos, space data, to understand different process to help the agriculture to increase the productivity. And
through imaging? I mean, you're talking about just
imaging. Yes, it's imaging. Yes, imaging, remote sensing imaging on multispectral or even hyperspectral systems.
I think we have a few more minutes here, so I have a question on more about pricing from Muhammad Kandek. How do you position your company in the global market in terms of technology and pricing? I think
From the technology, we are one of the official research. So we are one of the companies that produces the reliable and space buses, satellite buses in the world. We are the top company that produces the space buses because we have big experience of building and launching different missions based on our platform. So we have reliable technology that we were developing. So it shows the result. For the pricing, let's say we are quite our prices is good for the customers, and we know that. So we are compete in Russia and on the international market, and we know the pricing story, and we know how to work with that, and we built our subsystem in a serial manner. So that why it's easily for us to be flexible in that.
there is this one question from Muhammad Nasruddin. Do you, being from the industry, do you see a large-scale space colony possible? If yes, what is your estimate when we could do that? So when can we start living in space?
So we already living in space on the space station. Nowadays it's International Space Station, and China has its own station, and Russia is going to build an additional station, and countries moving to build the station on a moon surface. So it's very difficult but understandable way to how to go into space, and we are based on nowadays technologies. So technologies are developing, so it would be easily to go faster, more effective, and so on. So in the nearest future, we will see the new bases probably on the moon, and space trips to Mars, of course. But for that to decrease the price of that mission, so we need the new technologies like nuclear technologies for the engines, the different technologies for in biotech field. So, but it's our way. So no, I think it's we can stop that process.
Okay, I guess we have one last question, and then I think we should wrap up. Going back to the topic of education, I mean, in Russia, of course, you are the front forerunners in space technology. So, are Russian students still learning about space technology at a very young age? I mean, how is it built into your curriculum? I guess if you can share.
Okay, so in Russia, we have the young technoparks. It's not a school. Some schools have their own space classes. If you are talking about space, but we have like a school children technoparks, youth technoparks. It's like a different organization where school children can go after school to work with the different technologies. They can choose biotech, drones, robots, space, and so on. So in the space classes, they are working with the engineering sets, constructors, and best of that guys going to the summer camps, for example, in the special youth centers for the gifted children, let's say, and they're able even build, and we have such experience to build real satellite, and the government give a chance them to even to launch that satellites in orbit. So it's like
you have a space university. You graduated from the space university.
I graduated. It's a technical university. It's a huge technical university, but very big field of education to space, or satellites, engines, rocket technologies, and so on. So I graduated department that. I'm a professional engineer. Nowadays, I'm the marketing and commercial guy. But in the university, I graduated. I studied the space technologies, and we have a space team, a student team that they're trying to build a student satellite, and we built such a satellite, and now. And university is going to launch, if I remember, the 5th or 6th satellite nowadays.
So I think with that, thank you. Okay, one last question. Do we have time for one last question?
Good.
Okay, I have a question from Isha Omar. So he's asking how to start the collaboration with your company on capacity building and space technology. Yeah.
Just please write the letter. We will communicate. I can write down my email in the chat. So if
are your slides, can it be distributed or is it accessible on the website? Can it be shared? All right. With that, thank you so much, Anatoly, for sharing your experience and for the time we had. And
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I pass it back to Ina, the host?
Thank you to our distinguished guests for being here today and making this webinar successful. Now, thank you to all. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today, and we truly hope that you have gained valuable input and ideas. Now, on behalf of WIEF Foundation, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe and have a great day ahead.